He sees a still body and mistakes it for a quiet mind. This is the central silent crisis of the modern marriage.
Wow. Yeah, that line from PG Sebastian's material, it really hits hard, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And that's straight from his recent 7-part series, The Woman Who Does Nothing at Home. It perfectly frames what we're diving into today.
Which is this whole phenomenon of invisible labor, the hidden work.
Exactly, the cognitive load. And for everyone listening who's part of the Steps to Forever ecosystem, this is core stuff.
Right. Our goal here, like always in these deep dives, is to take those powerful insights from PG and make them really practical, really clear.
Because, as PG always says, forever should be built with clarity. So the big question for today is, what's the real cost, the hidden cost of all this mental weight in relationships? And crucially, how do we shift things?
Yeah, how do we get partners from just being, helpers to being actual owners in the relationship?
Let's start there. Let's talk about this invisible architecture PG describes.
Okay. He uses this great example, right? John comes home from work, tough day. He sees his wife, Sarah, on the sofa, maybe scrolling on her phone. And his immediate thought is,
She's relaxing.
exactly, relaxation. But PG points out, those 5 minutes, that's probably just her trying to survive the moment, catch her breath.
It's not relaxation, it's system reboot. But John, he only sees the physical stuff, the house itself.
Right. He's totally missing what PG calls the sprawling, invisible infrastructure that's actually holding the whole family together.
And that infrastructure is running inside her head.
It is. It's like a 1,000 mental browser tabs open constantly. PG lists some really concrete examples,
Yeah, like what?
Things like remembering the car insurance is due Friday, keeping track of the kids' vaccination schedules,
Oh, God, yes.
managing the delicate situation around his own mother's upcoming birthday, planning a week of healthy meals, which means checking what's already there, making the list, getting the groceries.
And anticipating things like what outfits the kids need for that field trip next week, depending on the weather. It's endless.
It's a full-time job running in the background. So why doesn't John see it? Why is it invisible?
Well, PG suggests it's often not deliberate ignorance, right? It's more of a cognitive bias.
Yeah, exactly. A deeply ingrained bias, especially, he notes, for many men, we're sort of trained societally to value what we can see and touch.
Tangible results.
Right. You build a deck, you mow the lawn, you land a client, there's a clear done, you can measure it.
But how do you measure anticipating a meltdown or remembering a permission slip?
You can't. It leaves no physical trace. So its value often gets registered as 0.
Which is wild because it's actually priceless for keeping things running smoothly.
And this invisibility, this lack of value, it often gets protected by something PG calls weaponized incompetence.
Yes. This one's fascinating and kind of infuriating. Explain that a bit.
Well, it's that passive way a partner might refuse to really learn or take ownership. The classic lines.
Oh, I just mess it up anyway.
You're just so much better at organizing this stuff than I am.
Right. Which sounds like a compliment, maybe, but it's not.
Not at all. PG highlights the weaponized part. It's effective because it basically forces the other partner, the one already managing everything, to keep managing.
Because teaching him, correcting him, or fixing his mistakes takes even more energy.
Exactly. If he packs the kids' lunches but forgets the juice boxes every single time, eventually Sarah just does it herself because it's easier than the follow-up. He looks like he tried.
But he successfully kept the mental load off his plate. Okay, let's pause here. For you listening right now, think about your own home. What's one thing you do, maybe every day, that nobody would even notice unless you stop doing it?
That quiet hum of maintenance. That's the invisible labor we're talking about.
And PG points out this isn't just happening in a vacuum, right? There's a whole cultural backdrop.
Oh, definitely. He argues that, we did a decent job inviting women into the corporate world, the traditional man's domain. But we completely failed on the flip side. Society didn't really invite men fully into the unglamorous, high-stakes world of running a home and family.
It's like that old concept, the second shift, still so relevant decades later.
Painfully relevant. The working woman often still feels judged by how clean her house is or how organized the kids' schedules are.
While her partner might get praised just for, helping out or babysitting his own kids, basic stuff.
Right, so you're not just battling personal habits within the marriage. You're pushing against generations of these ingrained roles. It makes creating a truly fair system really tough.
So what's the real damage here? PG warns the cost isn't financial primarily. It's paid in a different currency.
Yeah, the currency of intimacy. That's the first major cost, emotional erosion.
How does that play out?
Well, think about it. If one partner constantly feels like a manager,
Nagging, delegating, checking up.
and the other feels like an employee, or maybe even like a kid who needs instructions, that dynamic kills intimacy. PG puts it bluntly, resentment is the antithesis of desire.
Oof.
They stop feeling like passionate partners. They become essentially roommates managing logistics, bound by calendars, not connection.
She's too exhausted managing the business of the family to feel like a lover.
Exactly. Which leads right into the second big cost PG identifies, economic suppression or opportunity cost.
Okay, explain that. How does her managing the house affect, say, her career?
PG calls this the great uncalculated theft of female potential. Think about the mental energy, the sheer bandwidth it takes to keep all those tabs open.
Right, it's draining.
It's more than draining, it's diverting. That cognitive energy she's spending remembering the dentist appointment or planning meals is energy she cannot pour into her own business proposal or studying for a certification or focusing deeply on a complex project at work.
While her partner might have the luxury of focusing because she's handling the background chaos.
Precisely. He often has a partner guarding his focus time, consciously or unconsciously. She has a life that constantly pulls at her focus, siphoning off that energy she could be using for her own growth or ambitions.
That's a powerful way to frame it. Theft of potential.
And the final cost PG points to is maybe the saddest. It's the loss of self.
What does that mean?
It means the woman, just overwhelmed by this endless, thankless, invisible list, starts to dissolve. Her identity becomes consumed by the role she plays: wife, mother, scheduler, household manager.
Instead of the person she was, the person she is, underneath all that.
Right. And the breaking point, PG notes, it's often not some big dramatic fight. It's usually quieter, an internal collapse.
Yeah.
The system just stops.
And that's often when you hear that phrase.
Ah, yes, the defense. But you never asked me to.
Which just reveals the fundamental disconnect, doesn't it?
Completely. It shows he saw his role as a helper, waiting for tasks to be assigned, not as a partner, an equal owner of their shared life, proactively looking for what needs doing.
Okay, so the old way is clearly broken for so many couples. How do we build something better, something that points towards forever?
Well, the first step, PG insists, is crucial. You have to make the invisible visible.
Get it all out in the open.
Exactly. But he warns against jumping straight to, like, a chore chart.
Why not? Seems logical.
Because a chore chart still needs a manager to create it, assign it, track it. And the manager is usually the one already burning out. The core issue isn't tasks. It's ownership.
Ownership. Okay, so how do you get to ownership? You need awareness first.
You need awareness. Which brings us to PG's first practical tool, the system audit.
Sounds intense. What is it?
It's actually pretty straightforward, but powerful. For 1 week, both partners, completely separately, write down every single thing they do that contributes to running the household and family.
Every single thing, like taking out the trash, paying a bill.
Yes, but crucially, PG emphasizes including the cognitive labor, too. The thinking, planning, remembering work.
Ah, so not just cook dinner.
Right. It's plan the menu for the week, check the pantry to see what we had, made the grocery list, went to the store, put the groceries away, cooked the meal, cleaned up the kitchen afterwards. All of it.
Wow. Okay, I can see how listing it all out like that would be revealing.
It's the moment of pure, undiluted revelation, as PG calls it. When you put those two separate lists side by side, that's when the sheer volume of the invisible work often becomes shockingly clear.
Especially the imbalance, usually.
Often, yes. And seeing it starkly on paper, that's what can finally break through the cognitive bias. It creates the foundation needed for the really critical shift.
Which is moving from just helping to actual owning.
Exactly. Let's use John and Sarah again. Helping is John asking Sarah, hey, need any help with dinner?
Right. Waiting for instructions.
Owning is totally different. PG defines an owner as someone who takes full, independent, cognitive responsibility for an entire area, what he calls a vertical, from start to finish, conception to completion.
Okay, give an example of a vertical.
So instead of John helping Sarah with the kids' health stuff, John becomes the sole owner of the family health vertical.
Meaning
He proactively tracks the vaccination records, he schedules the doctor and dentist appointments, he handles the insurance forms. If the school nurse calls,
she calls John?
She calls John. He doesn't need to ask Sarah for the pediatrician's number or when the last checkup was. He knows. He owns that entire domain. No prompts needed.
That sounds amazing, but also maybe a bit scary for the person who used to manage it all.
Definitely. And PG addresses this directly. There's a necessary and often difficult flip side to this. The partner who is the manager has to let go.
Let go of control.
Let go of what PG sometimes refers to as maternal gatekeeping. It's often driven by anxiety, maybe years of the other person dropping the ball.
So she just takes over to make sure it gets done right.
Exactly. But for true ownership transfer to happen, she has to consciously release that.
Yeah.
He has to accept that his way of doing it, even if it's not her exact way, even if it's imperfect initially, is good enough.
Like if he buys the wrong brand of cereal.
The family will survive.
Yeah.
She can't be the quality control inspector hovering over his shoulder. That undermines his ownership. It takes immense trust.
Okay, so you do the audit, you shift to ownership of verticals. How do you keep this new system running? Does it just magically work?
No. Like any system, it needs maintenance. That's where PG's final practical tool comes in.
Yeah.
The clarity meeting.
A meeting for marriage.
He frames it like a C-suite meeting for the family business.
Yeah.
Short, regular, non-negotiable. Maybe 30 minutes once a week, like Sunday night.
And what happens in this meeting? Is it for hashing out arguments?
No. Crucially, it's not for emotional processing or conflict resolution. It's strictly logistical. The agenda is simple. Quick status updates on the owned verticals.
So, like, status on family finances.
Okay, I paid the mortgage, reconciled the accounts. The car repair bill came in higher than expected. We need to adjust the budget slightly for next month. Or family health status. Yep, dentist appointments are booked for the kids next Tuesday, I confirmed.
It's about accountability and visibility for the owned areas.
Precisely. It keeps everything transparent and ensures the ownership is actually happening. And PG has this great line about it.
Yeah.
He says this logistical meeting, it might not seem romantic in the cinematic sense.
Definitely doesn't sound like a movie scene.
Right. But he argues it is the absolute foundation upon which all genuine romance and intimacy can actually be rebuilt and sustained.
Because it clears out the resentment.
It takes all that administrative burden, all that potential for resentment, and turns it into a shared, manageable task. It creates space. And in that space, connection, desire, passion, they actually have room to breathe again.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's wrap this up. Key takeaways from PG Sebastian's series on invisible labor.
Well, first, that silent crisis. It's real. The invisible load fractures intimacy and honestly steals potential, especially female potential. That's the core problem.
And the path forward, the path to forever, involves concrete steps, not just talking, but doing.
Right. You need a system audit, make the invisible visible. You need that radical shift from just helping to true ownership of specific verticals.
And you need to maintain it with that regular logistical clarity meeting for accountability.
Absolutely. And maybe the most powerful point PG makes is this. The woman crushed under the weight of doing everything. That's not inevitable.
It's a choice.
It's a choice dictated by the couple's operating system. And the couple that actively chooses clarity chooses shared ownership. That's the couple setting themselves up for forever.
Powerful stuff. We really encourage you to explore more of PG Sebastian's insights on this. You can find the full series and so much more in the Steps to Forever Knowledge Center on his Substack blog. It's also called Steps to Forever.
Definitely check it out. There's a lot more depth there.
And thank you, truly, for tuning in. We love that you make these deep dives your drive time companion, or maybe listen while you work. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on so you don't miss the next one.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Remember, as PG always emphasizes, understanding these ideas is great, but applying them, that's where the real change happens.